Who was Uchiyama Gudo? He was a Soto Japanese monk that lived in Japan for parts of it was the 19th century and parts of the 20th century as well. Yeah, so he was perhaps a rare Buddhist that was particularly political. In fact, he was a kind of socialist anarchist figure. That meant that he tied the kind of teachings of Buddhism and saw it as a kind of a social end that kind of an anarchist or Buddhist. Uh, Anarchism or Buddhism is the way or the thing that kind of Buddhists should support. And he's not alone, actually. There are, for example, the Dalai Lama, when he was asked, I don't know if he was asked or he just said that he would be, if he supported any political ideology, it would be Marxism. And yeah, but saying this though, you could see from Japan in the 20th century during the war and imperialist period that any sort of political, it's not necessarily that I think Buddhism is tied with any politics. In fact, the Buddha said that kind of politics is something that's like kind of like a necessary evil. Like basically try and not get involved in it. It's a bit of a waste of time, but it's probably necessary in large communities, right, to make communal decisions. Of course, it is. But generally, it's people involved in politics are involved in power, and it's because the vast majority of people have not integrated their shadow. They will be capable of all sorts of evil actions in order to further their career. But yeah, anyway, anarchism and stuff like that. It's interesting. I was also reading about kind of Gary Snyder recently, and also Adam Watts. It turns out they were both big proponents of anarchism and ecological view, things like that. So that there is like a historical stream of kind of Western Zen Buddhists who have also been involved in anarchism. And why is this? Because I think basically it's a fight against authoritarianism and against totalitarianism, this idea that someone has like a view of how the world should be and they impose it on people in a top-down way is clearly not going to lead to kind of natural, spontaneous action that's in harmony with the world, with nature and things like that. So I think that's why these things are tied. Anyway, Uchiyama Gudo, he fought for this. He wrote some things. They just kind of like pamphlets, telling peasants how, the kind of what is wrong with the state. And essentially he's saying that the state, it kind of takes more than it needs, exploits people, it takes already poor people, it takes money from them in order simply to buy weapons, fight wars, especially in this imperialist period, but even now to this day. And we're told that we're protected, but we need the state to protect us, but it's actually states themselves that are waging the war. Normal people are not going to war. It's the state, and it's the working class and poor peasants that have to fight in the wars, not the rich elites with their business interests. So yeah, it makes sense. I can see why there's a compatibility, but I don't think necessarily, I'm not so sure how involved in politics Buddhists really should be. I don't think it's incompatible, but as I said, if you haven't integrated your shadow, then you're going to do some immoral behavior. Most likely, that's kind of what politics is. Politics is the sphere of violence, the sphere of coercion. So yeah, Uchiyama Gudo is a very interesting person. It's cool that there's a variety of different Buddhists out there. So go read about him. I found most of the resources on Terapress. There's a book about him, but I couldn't access it. It was tough. Yeah, go read about him. It's interesting.